Hello, family. Before we dive into this story, I want to take a moment to send some love and gratitude to all of my amazing listeners from the Caribbean. This story is for you, for everyone who's ever felt pressure to change just to fit in. It's a celebration of resilience, self-love, and the beauty that comes from embracing who we truly are. So sit back, relax, and let's begin this journey together. Adisa is told she needs to lose weight before she'll ever truly fit in or find love. But as she faces shallow romances and hidden betrayals, she begins to see that real acceptance starts from within. Join her journey to discover a love that's truly unconditional, the love she finds for herself. The early morning sunlight filtered through the leaves of the tamarind trees, dappling the bustling streets of Port of Spain with soft, scattered light. The market was alive with color and sound. Vendors lined the streets, their stalls overflowing with rich orange mangoes, vibrant green callaloo leaves, and hibiscus blooms in shades of red and purple. The familiar symphony of laughter, bargaining, and friendly banter filled the air. Adisa Calendar moved gracefully through the crowd, her natural curls bouncing around her face like a crown. She was striking, not just for her beauty, but for the warmth and kindness that seemed to radiate from her. People took notice of her, and the compliments she received were frequent, yet they often left a sting. "Girl, you're so beautiful, but imagine how much more you'd shine if you lost a bit of weight," a vendor said with a cheerful smile, as if offering her a helpful tip. Adisa gave her practiced polite smile, nodding and moving on, though inside the words lingered like a bruise. She'd heard variations of that sentiment her entire life. Relatives, strangers, and even friends seemed to view her as a work in progress rather than a whole person. Her beauty, they believed, could be perfected, if only she'd change herself. "Adisa," a familiar voice called out, breaking her thoughts. She turned to see her longtime friend Emmanuel Garcia weaving through the crowd toward her, his smile as welcoming as the morning sun. Tall, with an easy charm and an infectious laugh, Emmanuel had been by her side since childhood, offering an unwavering loyalty that had comforted her through countless challenges. He handed her a fresh coconut with a wink. "Here, for you, my queen," he said playfully. "Thank you, Emmanuel," Adisa replied, laughing and taking a sip. Somehow, just being with him lightened her mood. They strolled together through the market, chatting and people watching, but Emmanuel noticed the tightness in her smile, the tension in her usually bright eyes. In a quieter moment, he asked gently, "What's troubling you, Adisa?" She hesitated, glancing away. "Sometimes I just wonder if anyone will ever see me for who I am beyond this," she gestured to herself. "People only seem to notice my looks or my size, but no one cares to know the real me." Emmanuel's face softened. "Adisa, those who can't see past appearances aren't worth your time. You're one of the most genuine, caring people I know. Any man who doesn't see that doesn't deserve you." Before Adisa could respond, another voice cut in. Yasmin, an acquaintance they both knew. "Adisa girl, when are you going to stop settling for just friends and get yourself a real man?" she teased, her eyes darting to Emmanuel as though to stir something up. Adisa forced a laugh, but Yasmin's words had already set off her own doubts. Yasmin had always been one of those friends who could make a comment sound supportive and hurtful at the same time. As they parted ways, Yasmin leaned in, whispering, "Honestly though, Em deserves someone who fits with him, you know?" Adisa's heart sank, the remark leaving her questioning herself. Emmanuel hadn't reacted, but the lingering doubt Yasmin planted subtly chipped away at her confidence. As Emmanuel and Adisa continued through the market, She stole a glance at him, wondering if there was some truth to Yasmin's words. Did Emmanuel deserve someone better? 2 weeks later, Adisa attended a friend's engagement party. The night air was thick with laughter, the mingling scents of curry, stewed chicken, and coconut rice, and the vibrant rhythm of calypso music. Dressed in a bold orange dress that complemented her skin and hugged her curves, Adisa moved through the party with a sense of ease she hadn't felt in a while. Then she met Kyle Pierre. Kyle was new to the island, tall, sharply dressed, and carrying himself with a quiet, self-assured charm. They were introduced by a mutual friend, and soon Kyle's easy wit and attentive demeanor had Adisa laughing and lowering her guard. "So, Adisa," he asked with a smile as they danced, "how does a beautiful woman like you remain single?" Adisa laughed, feeling her cheeks warm. "Maybe because beauty isn't enough for most people," she replied lightly, though her words held a hint of truth. "Oh, I disagree," Kyle responded, leaning in with a smile that felt like a promise. "You are more than enough, trust me." For the first time in a long while, Adisa felt truly seen. They spent the rest of the evening together, sharing stories under the stars. By the time she returned home, her heart was alight with renewed hope. Could Kyle be different? In the following weeks, Adisa and Kyle spent time exploring the island's beaches, hiking lush trails, and dining at cozy restaurants. She began to open up, sharing parts of herself she had kept hidden from others. Yet as her feelings deepened, so did her insecurities. Kyle's social circles were filled with model-esque women who fit the ideal image effortlessly, leaving her to wonder if she could ever truly belong. One evening over dinner, Kyle reached for her hand. "You're perfect to me," he said softly, and for a moment Adisa's heart soared. But then he continued, "But imagine if you were just a little bit thinner. Think of the places we could go, the people we could be around. I mean, it's just something to consider if you want to fit in more with my crowd." The words landed like a blow. Adisa stared at him, feeling her heart tighten. She thought back to every person who had ever implied she'd be better if only she changed. Now here was Kyle, the man who had made her feel seen, telling her she wasn't quite enough. As she processed his words, she recalled other subtle remarks he'd made over the past weeks. There were small suggestions about how she could improve her appearance, and she realized he saw her as a reflection of his own social ambitions rather than a person. His affection, it seemed, was conditional on her fitting a certain image. Shaken, Adisa excused herself, walking out of the restaurant with her head held high. Her heart ached, but she refused to let anyone, not even someone she cared about, make her feel less than whole. The next day, Adisa sought refuge at her Auntie Nala's home in the countryside. Auntie Nala's house was surrounded by vibrant gardens, fruit trees, and the peaceful hum of cicadas. Known for her wisdom and warmth, Auntie Nala had always been a comforting presence. Over cups of sweetened tea, Adisa poured out her heart, recounting the conversation with Kyle and the insecurities that had haunted her for years. Auntie Nala listened silently, her face calm yet expressive, her eyes brimming with understanding. When Adisa finished, Auntie Nala took her hands. "My child, you were born from strength, love, and resilience. Don't let anyone make you feel you're anything less than a treasure." She then shared her own story of a time when she too had been pressured to change. She'd been in a controlling relationship, one where her partner's approval was conditional. Her partner had wanted her to adopt a refined, perfect image to match his social circles. With time, she had learned to see her beauty on her own terms, not defined by others. Her story was a balm for Adisa, reminding her that true self-worth came from within. Inspired by Auntie Nala's wisdom, Adisa began making changes, not for anyone else, but for herself. She started eating healthier, walking along the beaches, and dancing to soca music in her living room. Her confidence grew, and her self-love blossomed. It was during this time that Selwyn Clark, a local photographer known for capturing natural beauty, approached her. He wanted her to model for a project celebrating authenticity. Adisa was hesitant, but something in Selwyn's approach felt genuine. She agreed, and through his lens, she began to see herself in a new light. However, as she grew closer to Selwyn, Emmanuel seemed to distance himself. Adisa noticed a change in him, a subtle tension that grew as her modeling work expanded. Finally, one afternoon, he confronted her. Adisa, I just don't understand this modeling thing. Is this really what you want, or are you trying to fit into some image others have of you? He asked, his voice gentle but concerned. Adisa paused, hurt and defensive. This is for me, Emmanuel. Why are you questioning it? Emmanuel shifted uncomfortably. I don't want you to feel like you have to change for anyone. You've always been enough. They stood in silence, the weight of unspoken feelings hanging between them. Emmanuel's doubt shook her, making her question if she truly was following her heart or simply seeking approval. She wondered if Emmanuel, too, was starting to see her differently. Despite the rift with Emmanuel, Adisa continued modeling with Selwyn. Yet as their sessions went on, she began to notice small, unsettling details. He would frequently mention how her natural look was perfect for the current trends, or how her appearance was marketable. Suspicion gnawed at her, and one day she discovered the truth. Selwyn was working with a marketing agency aiming to capitalize on the authenticity trend. He viewed her not as a unique beauty, but as a tool to further his career. The realization hit hard. Selwyn's validation had felt like a turning point, but now she saw that it was just another form of objectification. Heartbroken, she ended their collaboration, her resolve strengthening as she realized that true acceptance wouldn't come from anyone else's gaze. As Adisa reclaimed her independence, she received an unexpected offer from a local women's empowerment organization. They wanted her to speak and model in a campaign promoting body positivity and self-acceptance. The offer was both thrilling and intimidating, forcing her to confront her insecurities. Yet this time, she accepted with full conviction, realizing she had grown strong enough to share her journey publicly, not as a symbol, but as herself. As she prepared for her campaign debut, Adisa took a moment to reflect. She had endured judgment, rejection, and betrayal, yet each experience had pushed her closer to discovering her true worth. This campaign would not only be about beauty, it would be about the strength, resilience, and pride she had found within herself. Through her journey, Adisa found herself gravitating back toward Emmanuel, whose steadfast support and quiet love had been there all along. They rekindled their bond, now with a deeper understanding of each other's struggles and strengths. Emmanuel confessed he had always loved her, just as she was, and together they began a relationship rooted in mutual respect and trust. Adisa's story became a source of inspiration, her journey, a reminder that true worth is found within. She learned to embrace herself not because of society, but in defiance of it. She was more than beauty. She was strength, resilience, and love. And that was a treasure worth cherishing. The end. Thank you, family, for joining me on this journey through Adisa's story. I hope it brought inspiration, warmth, and a reminder to embrace your own unique beauty. Until next time, keep shining and stay true to yourself. Sending love to you all from the Caribbean. Take care.